what does Putin do? This is, embarrassing for him. You have I'll show a map here. 300,000 people evacuated from certain areas. A state of emergency declared now because of these daily Ukrainian attacks. And it doesn't seem like on the battlefield. So Putin's not moving troops in large numbers there. He's sort of relying on security services like the FSB. John, what does that signal to you on what the Kremlin may be making as the next move?
Well, it gives you some insight into Russian politics right now. Putin doesn't trust the defense ministry in its entirety and has greater faith in the FSB and Rosguardia and other organs to try to contain this. They're calling it a counterterrorism operation. The Russians are having two problems. They have to message this externally throughout the world, and then they have to message it internally in Russia, because this is a huge embarrassment, as you pointed out, and a huge surprise. And they haven't really settled on an internal narrative yet, as they continue to lose some territory and are not devoting sufficient military assets to really contain it, at least as of yet.
Fascinating. And they're not so buttoned up there on the messaging. And then we have just breaking right now. There's word that we will be sending more resources over. U.S. set to announce more security assistance for Ukraine. White House is saying that. Blaine, here we go again. This was a kind of a move that, many didn't see coming on the battlefield, but we're now getting even deeper into this never-ending war.
This is a very bold stroke by the Ukrainians, and it could have tremendous benefits to them for picking out and getting the intelligence together to find a weak flank that Russia has, and then to make the drive here. The caution is it has to be sustainable. You don't own it unless you can keep it. If you can keep it, you own it. But what does that mean? Logistically, the Ukrainians have to cover down on their supply lines. They have to make sure that it's logistically sustainable to stay in that position. Otherwise, this could be very, very problematic very quickly. If this is a two-part strategy to take Kursk and then to start to sue for terms to off-ramp the war, well, then this could be brilliant. But this is not without risk, and time will tell to see how this goes. John's making a very, very clear point that all is probably not well in the Kremlin, and that is going to be more issues to be sorted out soon.
And obviously, there's a lot of other players in this. China probably has some, stake in this and how it turns out. I mean, does this turn of events impact China's interests, John, insofar as, where they want to see this whole conflict going, especially against us, the West?
Yeah, Bianca, we never talk about China in the context of Ukraine, and we should, because China is playing the long game where Russia is concerned. A destabilized, fragmented Russia is in China's interest, not the United States. And we need to remember the lesson of humility we learned when we went after Saddam Hussein and the chaos that sowed throughout the Middle East and made ISIS possible, for example. But if Russia implodes or fragments because central government in Russia breaks down, the entire treasure house that is Siberia could essentially, or it might become a de facto Chinese resource colony and be a huge boon to China in our contest with them that's probably going to go on for decades. Wow. So let's be careful what we wish for with Russia.